Hello world, it's Austin. Let's talk about being transgender and Christian. Before we jump into this week's video, I want to give you a heads up on a couple things that are going on. First of all, the Transgender and Christian Patreon is up, and I'm super excited about it. So if you want insider information on videos and what's coming next, and resources that are coming out, all kinds of stuff, go check out the Patreon page. There'll be a little reminder in the end card, so you can wait till the end of the video and then check it out. But please do check that out, because I'm really excited about it, and there's great stuff to see there. Secondly, pretty soon we are going to have a Transgender and Christian P.O. box, so you can send me mail if you want to send me letters, which is really great, and share more of your stories, because I'd love to hear about them. And third of all, there's pretty soon going to be a Transgender and Christian mailing list, where I'm going to send out an email every week with resources and things that I think you should check out, and things that might be helpful. So look for the P.O. box information and the mailing information soon, but the Patreon is up now, so definitely go check that out. So, let's talk about this week's video. It is an interview with my friend Ben that we filmed on the floor of the conference space at the Gay Christian Network Conference, and Ben is amazing. We first met at the Reformation Project Conference about 9 months ago, and then we ended up connecting again at the Gay Christian Network Conference. So, I hope you enjoy this interview with Ben. I had a great time filming it. He's a great guy, and all the resources that we talk about in the video will be down here in the description below. So, hope you enjoy it, and we will see you back here next week. On to the video. So, Ben, do you want to introduce yourself? Anything you want to say about yourself? What are your pronouns?
Yeah. So my name's Ben, and I am a trans man, identified as that. I haven't done any physical transition yet, but hoping in the next few months that'll happen. So that's exciting. And then I go by him, just male pronouns work for me. So
sweet.
Yep, and I'm from Chicago area. I just moved back from grad school.
Yay. Sweet. Is there, in your sort of coming out journey as trans, as you're trying to figure this out for yourself, as you're trying to figure it out in your communities, has there ever been a time when you felt like your gender identity and your faith were at conflict with each other, or that you felt kind of a little bit torn about it, or like they couldn't really coexist well?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I'd say that biggest kind of collision happened for me in college, and so I went to my undergrad in Michigan, and there I met a lot of really strong Christians, and that's kind of how I got into my Christian faith, and my beliefs kind of developed in that area. And so then as I was going there, LGBT stuff kind of kept spurting out here and there, and in little sermons I'd hear, or just it would come up in conversation, and I'd never really thought of it as something that could be sinful. I knew I had these struggles, but I was more embarrassed than concerned about it being wrong in God's sense or whatever. So that really caused a lot of conflict for me, and I had decided my faith was more important, and I would figure this stuff out later, and I kind of just put it on the back burner. But then I came out my senior year to a friend, and that was kind of the start of it really being real, interacting with the negative or the people that didn't think it was okay. And so I was really torn too, because I had those same beliefs that it's not okay, but I just couldn't keep it all in. So the hardest thing was just convincing myself, taking the time to go back to where I had been before, when I didn't think it was wrong, and to be how did I get to where I did think it was wrong, and kind of I had to look into the Bible and the passages, and really do a lot of studying, and I'm still not 100% okay with or reconciled with everything, but I've made a lot of progress. It's gotten a lot better.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people that I have talked to, a lot of other trans people have said it was sort of a learned dissonance when it came to their faith and their gender identity. They weren't born feeling terrible about it. They kind of, it was something that was sort of taken in from the outside, and then you have to figure out how to come back out of it again in some way. So I think that's kind of common.
Yeah, and I can remember as a kid being a really big tomboy, and not understanding when people would say negative comments about it, or I didn't think it was wrong at all.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, society and the pressures of the people surround us
Yeah.
make us feel that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think it's good that you admit that like you haven't got it all figured out yet, and there are like still things that you struggle with because
Yeah.
it's I feel like sometimes in the LGBT community and in the LGBT faith community, we tend to just be like, cool, now I figured it out, I got it, like we feel like we sometimes project this sense of like, I've got it all figured out and I'm fine with myself now, and that's not usually the case for most people. Like, we're
Yeah.
figuring this all out throughout our lives, and being not totally okay with it yet is totally fine.
yeah.
On like a happier note, is there a time where you're like, you remember really having everything kind of come together and be like, yes, this feels great, like my faith and my gender identity aren't like fighting each other?
Yeah. I'd say in the past year, that's kind of where I've been getting closer and closer to, is just reconciling everything and feeling comfortable with my faith and my identity. And that kind of started off, I would say, at the Reformation Project conference when I went there, and I had never been around like LGBT Christians before, and so I was like terrified. But yeah, even for someone who's like a part of the community, it took like getting out and meeting people and not hearing just like stereotypes being shouted, and so that was really life-changing. And then that caused me to shift my views, and like, at that point I kind of was already, but meeting people really helped, and then just starting to dress more comfortably, and the comfort that caused, and like how anxiety when I cut my hair, just depression, anxiety started lifting off, and I didn't even know like I had as much as I had, because it was such an amazing feeling. I was like, I've never felt this way, and it just gives you an idea of how low you are, or were,
right? Yeah.
and so yeah, that just like that, going to there really started me thinking and having a good support system, and just meeting people of different with different opinions on faith, but realizing we all have like a core value of like Christ and love and that stuff. It's kind of opened my mind a little bit, and just, I don't know, just like you said, not feeling like I have to have everything figured out.
Yeah.
And before I had like a checklist of this is what you have to do, and I don't think it's that clear cut anymore.
Sure.
I don't feel that way anymore. And I think Allison did a good job in her speech yesterday. Allison Robinson talked, and she said, like, how can we agree, or how can we get along if we're on two different sides? And she was like, I don't know, God, I don't understand God, and so you just have to deal with that, and that's something I had a really hard time with.
Yeah, like the mystery of it, and like letting it be a mystery sometimes.
Yeah. So, and seeing the positive that's come from just people I've met a lot of trans individuals, and hearing their stories and seeing like their smile and how much more comfortable they are, just seeing that in other people has really helped me.
Yeah.
So I think I'm at a really good spot now.
Sweet.
Good questions still, but
Yeah. Something that I've been asking people is wondering if there is something about like the way that you identify, like if you identify as like a trans man, is there something about trans men that you wish the rest of the LGB sort of community, and then like the T community that doesn't identify that way, is there something that you wish that they knew about what that's like?
Yeah, I guess for me, and this is something I'm learning actually, as I've been trying to embrace myself more, is like I had this rigid structure in my mind of what a man should be, and so as I started like transitioning, I like would catch myself doing things and I'd be like, no, you can't do that anymore, and making those lines, and that was really hard because I feel like that is part of my personality and those are desires I want, and it's just stereotyped, or just the way society puts pressure on masculinity. And so I think that it's important to know, like, to not have a mental image of what you would think like a man or a trans man should be like, and just look at them as a person who's comfortable with themselves now, and that's something I had to do with myself. And it's hard.
It's really hard.
It's nice to just be comfortable in your skin and like with your desires and what you want to do, and So I don't know.
Yeah. I think that we even in the LGBT community, I think because we oftentimes have dealt with certain kinds of like discrimination and oppression and whatever, we have a fear of sometimes like of being different or of other people being different because we're like worried about their safety, and so we tend to, even in the LGBT community, start to like police other people's gender and be like, you have to fall within this gender. And it oftentimes comes from that place of fear of like, I just don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want me to get in trouble for being around somebody who's like outside of those boundaries. So like stopping ourselves from policing other people, but also from policing ourselves and from trying to make ourselves fit into those boxes of like, this is what a guy is, this is what a girl is, and these are the differences, you know.
Yeah.
So, I totally get that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, last question. Is there a resource that you found to be really helpful, whether it's a resource on like trans things specifically, or a resource on faith things, or a resource in the connection of the two, something that you think would be great for other people to know about?
Well, yeah, obviously if like people are watching this, so Austin's channel was super helpful for me.
Count.
I was like waiting on YouTube to find, there's only were a few videos. So that's, I think you have a great resource. But something that really helped me was watching a lot of the speakers from conferences like the Gay Christian Network or the Reformation and listen to their stories. There's a couple trans people that have spoke, but all of the speakers are incredible.
Yes, true.
And so that really helped me. And getting in contact, if you feel comfortable to, put yourself out there and stuff, like getting in contact with people like Austin or anyone who's out there and willing to have a dialogue just so you don't feel alone. And then I really love I just not to like market this, but I really loved Lisa Salazar's book Transparently. And I don't feel like a lot of people know about it.
I haven't even read it yet.
Yeah, I just ask all these trans people and they've never heard of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you gotta go read it. It's so great, and there's so many wonderful people out there who have stories that you can listen to and stuff, but her book is really cool because it talks about her journey, and she struggled for so long, like suppressed these feelings for so long, and she was older when she transitioned, but it's just I don't know, it was amazing to hear her story. And one thing that really was awesome with her story was that she couldn't really move forward until she reconciled it with her faith. That's what I got from the book. And that's something that was really hard for me. Like, I still have questions, but there were big things like passages in the Bible that I was struggling with. And she had been for so long. And she explains that towards the end of the book, how she reconciled those and how God kind of clicked or turned on a switch and let her read these passages with a whole new interpretation. And when I read that, it really let me do that, and that was super helpful. So yeah, her book is awesome.
Cool. So it's called Transparently, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yes, Lisa Salazar, and I've seen it on Amazon. I think you can get it, you can get it as a paper book, but I think you can also get it on Kindle and stuff, too.
Yeah. I think she has a blog. I haven't checked the blog out, but yeah, the book's great.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing your thoughts about all these crazy trans and Christian things.
Yeah, thanks for letting me.
Yeah, totally. I'm glad you could come on. So yeah, check, where can people find you if they'd like to find you online?
Oh, yes. So I've Facebook, Ben Cousineau, and you can add me on there, message me.
How do you spell your last name?
Cousineau.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then I have a Tumblr, T-shirt Life, and there's a dash in there, so people have connected to me on there, and then I have a little trans group going on Facebook, so if you contact me and you want to be in a little secret group and just share your thoughts, that's an option too. But yeah.
Sweet. All right. So I will put links to those things down here in the description so you guys can find Ben. All right. Well, thanks, Ben, for being on, and thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.